Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Robert Frost was an American poet noted for his realistic description of rural life. He spent his first 40 years as an unknown entity. He received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry and was special guest at President John F. Kennedy's inauguration. His poem was written and published in 1923 in the volume of poems entitled New Hampshire. He was unofficial poet laureate of United States of America. His other poems of The Road Not Taken and Mending Wall. Theme of the poem. This short lyric of 16 lines begins with a description of the deep woods through which the speaker is passing on a dark, snowy evening. The owner of the woods lives away in the village, so he won't be able to see the speaker at his property. A reference to the snow occurs. The second and third stanza are fond of speculations about the little horse who is not willing to stop beside the woods because no farmhouse is visible. He shakes, therefore, his harness belt to know if the master has stopped there because of some mistake. The fourth stanza is a beautiful sketch about the woods, but the speaker is reminded of his promise to return home in time, as he must go away to cover up the miles. Whose woods are these? I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. The first stanza, the poet thinks that he knows whose these woods are. He also knows that the owner of these woods is a man who lives in the village. The forester, therefore, will not be able to see him stopping beside the woods to watch them being covered up with snow. Second stanza, my little horse must think it cure to starve without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. The second stanza, the poet or the speaker believes that his little horse must think it odd, cure means odd, to stop in these woods without a farmhouse nearby, between the woods and frozen lake on the darkest evening of the year. Third stanza, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Let's see the third stanza. The horse gives a shake to the bells of his rein to know if the poet has stood there by some mistake. The only other sound that's heard in the woods is that of the wind and snowfall. Fourth stanza, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Our unforgettable and beloved Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, used to read this poem to get inspiration out of it. The last 3 lines, I have promises to keep, and I have miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. That impressed him very much. The meaning of fourth stanza, the woods are beautiful, dark and deep to look at. But the poet speaker has to keep his word given to others. And therefore he has to go many miles to reach the destination before he returns to bed for sleep. According to John C.A.D., the last 2 repetitive lines have a symbolic significance. The primary meaning is, I have a long way to go to bed tonight, but the same line is repeated and is transferred into symbols. According to me, I have promises to keep. There are many leaders who are making false statements and they are not keeping up the words. And miles to go before I sleep means there are many miles I have to cross to go to bed. The last line, miles to go before I sleep, it gives another meaning that in life we have to fulfill many things, good and bad, before going to the eternal sleep that is death. In Hindi, there is a song, Challa Kela, Challa Kela, Challa Kela, Tera Mela Picha Chuta Raha Challa Kela. It means you have to fulfill many things in your life. So, go alone, go alone. If you feel the poem is very useful and if you like, then like, share.